What is going on? All right, everybody, just to let you know, something's wrong with Zoom again. Zoom, you're going to lose a customer here because your service sucks. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Zoom, you see what my shirt says? Your problem is, and it says at the bottom, is obvious. Come on, man. Get the bandwidth going. Hello, everybody. It's Monday. Oh, man. High energy day. Hello, everybody out there. Just letting everyone know Zoom is a Zud. That's not D-U-D-E, it's Z-U-D-E. There you go. Hello, everybody. And let me just invoke great favor upon you this day. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Hey, Jules, love the thumbnail. Yeah. So the question is, you see, I can see myself freezing up. Hey, we'll just hope and we'll roll with the punches as it goes. Yeah, watch that picture and tell me how often it turns on you. Hello, James. Good music is good forever. Amen on that, dude. I'm all over that. Hello, Pamela. How you doing? Jules, good to see you. Susie Q. Hello, Lost in Space. John Price and Nina the Mystic, and it's freezing up again. Pamela, good to see you. Hillard, I'll try to say hello to everybody I can. It's just weird. So, how was your Saturday and Sunday? Some places are getting out of lockdown. Going to do a show on that. How many of you have been observing what has really been taking place here? Not questioning, any of the virus, et cetera, et cetera. What I am focusing in on, and I can see myself delayed, that's weird, is how the programming, they say in hypnosis, MK Ultra, Manchurian Candidate, etc. Hello, Big Al. Hello, Kaz. How you doing, my love? Twisted Isby, loud now. It's going. So hey, we're going to ride the wave as long as we can. But in any case, in all of those brain conditioning, and that's what it is, there are trigger words, and trigger words can be the thing that gets everything going. This is really strange watching this delay. I don't know what y'all are seeing. I hope that it is not messing up too bad on y'all's case. Now, Joe, if that was to ever happen, that would truly be the geriatric ticket of all time. I think Congress would then make a move that, no person can run for president that is under the age of 70. I think this nonsense of having people at nearly 80 years old running for the chief spot, no, that's just my opinion. Hey, KT, good to see you. Nini the Mystic, Claire 74. Here is all right. Good. Happy birthday to everybody. Wednesday got David from Adapt 2030. Go over and look at his channel. I mean, what he has said is coming to pass tomorrow, Miss Trina. And so we're going to get right into it. Reality, illusion, reality, real. The Matrix said it all when, this is really odd seeing the delay. It's like, I believe in time travel. I can see myself coming and going. That's when you have hallway sex. You know what that is, right? That's when two people pass each other and say, go coitus yourself. But anyway, I digress. The Matrix defined it very well. Reality is, in its mere simplest components, is nothing more than two categories. electrical, and chemical. And now I'm hearing some really strange stuff. All right, this is getting interesting. So, because within those two categories, our complete sensory on the physical plane is defined. And if you can break it down to simple stimuli that hits an active vibration, sight, sound, taste, feel, right? Even emotions. You get around a high EMF field and you'll start thinking you're talking to God. Fact. So that then would define reality for us, right? In its simplest components. Now, people would then say, yeah, but you know what? We're thinking beings. Yeah, we are. That's the problem, is that we are thinking beings. And I want to get into a discussion that starts this off. So just to let y'all know, the end of the world is big business. It's big business for religion, particularly. Can someone explain to me why 15,000 Catholic parishes got money from the PPP program that was go to small business? I thought there was this thing of separation of church and state. I called my congressman. I hope you call your congressman as well, because something is rotten. But I digress. Back to the point. The end of the world is big business. In fact, if there wasn't for the end of the world program, there would be no Christian church at all. Would be no need for one. Wouldn't any be need for any religion? Think about it. They use it because, hell, number one, it is a great crowd bringer inner. And two, it is completely MK Ultra to the ultimate. End of the world. Big business. I mean, Catholic churches, gotten so rich, it's like what, the third, fourth richest corporation in the world? And it is a corporation. We can get into that, but that's not what this is. So without the end of the world, you've got no business plan. So now the hype is because churches are going to be going out of business. I just read a report today. This so-called timeout is probably going to put tens of thousands of churches out of business. Many of them are already filing bankruptcy. Yeah, you can do that. So they've got to hype something up. So the word is that now the seals have been broken. And it's going to get bad, folks. They're using this virus as a sign. They're using the sign of the economy because there is a depression coming. Let me be clear on that. There is a depression coming, and this is all part of the conditioning. So you can just, I'll leave it on here, but the whole thing is that this is big business all the way around. The other thing, there was a story in the New York Times, which I thought was very interesting. Yes, I read the Times. I read a lot, but I try to keep an even balance. I used to be one of these individuals that was so apolitical, either you're a Republican or a Democrat, rah, 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 rah. And, even the independents, are surrogates for either party. There's very few of us who are just abstentionist. We don't give a crap anymore because the game is rigged. You don't have to vote ever again. It's rigged. And, that's just the bottom line of it is. But getting back here. So the apocalypse, as an unveiling now. I find this so interesting that we're going to see some key words come into our vernacular. Number one, you're going to hear the new normal. In this political season, you're going to hear all about tribes. Isn't that weird? It's, yeah, you're going to see it heavily with the left. And they're going to be accusing the right of tribalism. In fact, you already have seen the key from the governor in Michigan. Recently, Barack Obama. So it's going to become a theme. It's another division, another diversion. But in any case, what they're coming in and saying, well, really what it is, because, you know, if you've got the golden ticket, why, there's, who do we care? We've got the ticket in to the gates, you know, and screw the other 5 billion people that, according to your belief system, will be slaughtered. Gee, hell of a religion, isn't it? But this is what they're saying now, that what it actually is. By the way, we're going to get into this, and that we've talked about this before, but some strange stuff going on. So the Greek word is apocalypsis, which means an unveiling, a revelation. And as they're saying, this is not just about the end of the world. It helps us see something that is hidden before. Now, there's many that happen to believe that the United States is under judgment as the rest of the world. We won't get into that. But nevertheless, interesting article in the Times. Check it out. Because all of us, if you're living in the modern world, and I'll even refine it down to a finer dimension on that, is that in the Western world, if you've been under Western philosophy, Western influence of commercialism, materialism, mixed in with the religion, you have quite a little experiment going on. And it has been quite the experiment. So when you look at this, we've all been conditioned. I lived with it for nearly 50 years in my former religious beliefs. Taught on it. Taught extensively on it. I knew one of probably one of the best educated men on the book of Revelation. And it's quite interesting. And it's revelation, doesn't have an S in it. So it only means it's a revelation, an unveiling. It's all part of the conditioning. Why? Because the condition begins with how you perceive your reality. So we're going to get into this. By the time most humans reach the age of 13, they have been programmed. Trauma will undo a lot of that programming, interestingly enough. So many of us here in this community are the victors because we came out of very abusive childhoods. Now, not everybody, but there is a good majority of us. Trauma will undo it, as it will undo a lot of things. So remember, we're talking about Project Bluebeam. Now, we're going to get more into this book, but there's really 4 key steps in what will be the ultimate programming. I took a test today, and I was really surprised. We'll get into it probably tomorrow with Miss Trina. I took the Mandela test. I mean, I didn't believe it. I really did not believe it. According to this test, my recollection of history has been altered 33% to what reality is supposed to be. I kid you not. So it's important that we know our enemy. And we're going to do a show on that one. That I contend, folks, what I'm using right now, what you're watching right now, we basically got straws. We got attachments to our spiritual beings. And that's what it's doing to us. And it's sucking the very life force energy out of us all. Too much internet, too much computer time. So let's get back to the point. So in a conditioning environment, you take it in steps. So this has been ongoing for some 50 years. You start breaking down the archaeological knowledge. For instance, as they begin to find these archaeological ruins that validate a certain belief system that hadn't been there for millennia, what happens? There's immediately a bifurcation. Um, we know that most people don't know, but the first big separation was 1514. In the world dominant religion that has been the world dominant corporation. Now it has subsidiaries, but they're all connected to the one. Okay, they continue on with strategic artificial earthquakes. Let me just talk about this. This, some people question as merely conspiracy theory. No, we know now after a decade or so of fracking that fracking will in fact induce artificial earthquakes. Now, that's not even something that was known. And then discrediting of global religions. The debate is, well, how do you have religions? Which God is the real character? Well, it's like the old thing. Will the real Mr. God please come forward? You don't know. But nevertheless, it begins to erode that. Step 2 is a gigantic space show, which is coming. The more and more increased sightings of UFOs, and I'll say other atmospheric phenomena, and the return of the religion's messiahs. For the Abrahamic, it will be the triad, not Father, Son, Holy Spirit. No. You'll have the Jewish, the Islamic, and the Christian. Step 3 is telepathic communications. Now, I want to stop there for a second and allow me to go over to something to show you that this is already a patent. It's already being perfected. This is the system for producing artificial telepathy. You'd use a cell phone-like device, would strap on. You would then have these connecting points. It says the system comprises of a mobile phone engine, which interfaces to an existing or future public mobility telephony network. This device, a telephony network, where we've heard that? The neural net 2.0, which is linked wirelessly to one or more corresponding transponders implanted in the body. The cochlear implant would be your first good example of that. Connected to these implant transponders are implanted transducers, one placed in a position such as it picks up speech from the user, and the other placed in a position such that it imparts speech and status signals audible to the user. Now, Y'all got to go there and check out Lucky's station, YouTube channel as well. But we exchanged some thoughts, and Lucky, this is you. So as he was pointing out, to predict the future of one individual is not that hard. If you have an algorithm, everything that you are thinking is transmitted. It's 7 seconds, but it's even shorter than that. Facebook's AI can read your blood vessels, and we all give ourselves away by the blood vessels around our eyes and our nose and above our lips. We can't even see the subtleties of this. So don't tell me that this isn't happening. The transducers may connect acoustically, either through bone contact or contact with other tissue, or microelectrically through electrodes connected to tissue or nerves. In future telecommunication networks, when the power level requirements are much lower, the whole device may be implanted and connected directly to the public, mobile network. Don't think that they're already onto this. And so as you see, this is a system for producing artificial telepathy. All right, I brought that out so we could use as a point of reference what I was just talking about. So let me get back over here and we continue. So look at where we are now. Excuse me. So now step 4 is a response to an imminent alien invasion, global government formation, unified world military force. We're probably a little bit, but it gets back to this whole thing. What are we being set up for? What are we being conditioned for? Listen, it was announced by the Treasury Secretary, Mnuchin. Folks, we're heading for a very hard time. I don't think most Americans are, well, this is going to be global, are fully aware of what's going on. So everyone is taking as a sign what happened a couple of months ago in February when the steeples started falling. Here's Marconi, the angel of the Lord in Mormonism. It dropped the trumpet. Now, we could get into hours on that alone. What is the significance? Just happened? Well, sure. I mean, you could say, yeah, it just happened, man. You know, the ground was shaking and Marconi lost his trumpet. Yeah, all right. Is it signifying something? Is there something of a greater intelligence truly talking to us? Trying to? What? These aliens? So what Project Bluebeam is about is the ability to create holograms in the sky. Now, this is the same technology of directed energy weapons. I've done a show on that, folks. It exists. So you have synthetic optics, synthetic signals in the brain. You have to have the technology that would support such an intense radiation, a microwave background, or what we could call on the cellular network, 5G, 6G, whatever you want to go to. And the introduction, and it's been a couple of years now, is just becoming therapeutic. It's showing up in psychiatry. It's showing in ability to enhance natural talent, strength, ability, virtual reality, while awake or asleep. They're going to tap into the subconscious mind. Your dreams will never be the same. So with the satellites, and now with this microwave background radiation, and that's what it is. More and more people are going to be having these discussions with God or with the devil. Part of the synthetic dream mind control programs is to get into our dreams. Once it's in our dreams, the debate is over. Because I don't know if we'll have the ability to have the spatial awareness to have the discussion to begin with. We see all around conditioning. There is a frequency in all broadcast signals. And folks, 99.9% of the public has no idea what's happening. Now, if you're come out of, for instance, the broadcast industry, if you're an electrical engineer, you know these things. Dogs can hear a certain pitch with a whistle. We can't. It's not that we can't, it's that we're not processing it. There is an electronic signal that is embedded in all. Now, there is a theory that says that a very malevolent purpose is in all of this electric magnetic soup that we call Wi-Fi. We know that these direct energy weapons can target in the individuals that bring on heart attacks, strokes, seizures. It can begin to make a normal human being who absolutely had no background, no tendencies to be in any other way to be defined as normal, suddenly become abnormal. I've shown you the patent. Method and apparatus for inducing desired states of consciousness. So it becomes very difficult once the switch is flipped, really to determine what is and what isn't. Our brains are so malleable, susceptible to conditioning. We depend on it. We call them rituals. Oh, excuse me. No, the modern man calls them routines. And when your ritual is upset or prevented, you begin to have psychological effects. Many people don't know what to do. That's why work is so important. We were programmed before we were born to work. I contend, why work at all? Why should I be working for someone, some politician, to get rich about? Why should I be working for some banker that has stolen from me? Why should we work at all? Think about it. We are conditioned. In fact, your religions say that if a person doesn't work, that person shouldn't eat. That's a slave program. Well, you're lazy, you're a freeloader. You know, we can go on and on. But the question is, you see, is how the system is. If we had had the schools that I want to bring about, where we begin to teach the individual the inward path, not materialism, not becoming rich, not collecting worthless stuff, but developing that which we would carry out of these bodies, a whole different background. But that's not what's happening here. This is a condition, and it looks like it's being ramped up. Now, this phenomenon, I want to say, Lynn and I saw one of these right where we live. It was red. It was much red, but it was It literally was a stimulating experience. How many of you have seen these? A couple of years ago, they were everywhere. Some say that this is just merely an atmospheric thing, and that's true. But what makes this one so interesting? This was that event in Russia that you don't hear anything talked about anymore. There was a nuclear explosion of some kind. And here it is again. So the question is, what really happened here? Was this the result of this? They say the same thing in China. This is down in Mexico. Now, what's really interesting in all of these captures, videos, stills, that when you look really close, you can see there's actually lightning coming off of these, whatever they are. I contend that these are beam weapons of some kind because they're all over the world. Now, what the hell was going on at Cocoa Beach? I've been there many times. Love the place. Spent and watched many a spacecraft rocket take off from there. These all are in Florida. This one you see on the left was the most amazing thing. The video that this came off of, I can't find it anymore, but was that the light was so bright. And these fishermen just were, as they said, it was something else. So what are we witnessing? Now, the way I see this, and I know how, when you develop software, you have to have, the alpha stage and then the betas where you start testing it. The thing that was, again, most common with a lot of these sightings is, again, you can see the lightning being generated by these, whatever this is. I don't know if this is a weapon. I don't know if it's ours, if it's somebody else's. People literally driving along the road. And like on many of this, a lot of this is down in Florida, but it's all over different parts of the United States, different parts of other countries. And again, the commonality is that you see lightning being generated. So I kind of deduce, and my logic is that, well, there's obviously a lot of power here, a lot of energy. This was in Orlando. Now, what are we seeing? Is this a new form of lightning? Is that even possible? So this isn't just seen by a couple of people. It's been seen by large groups of people at the same time. This one particularly had pictures all over at the time. Now, this is up in, I think, Montana. Don't quote me on it, but it is up there. And as you can see, there's not a cloud in the sky. What are we seeing? There is a, on the History Channel, Skinwalker Ranch, we had John on the Stardust Ranch. Well, this is the one that Bigelow owned. They're filming these type of beams. However, these beams are not visible to the eye. You do it in the IR and they show up very quickly, but these are just in the middle of the day. The one that Lynn and I saw, same thing. Yeah, it was We both looked at each other at the same time and said, "Did you just see that?" And yes, we did. Now, these are some of the more interesting ones where the conspiracy theory comes in, because what you're seeing are these, and I'll just call them beam weapon. I don't know if, again, a beam weapon, whatever it is, maybe it's a laser, I don't know, but you can see it starts forest fires. And again, in the upper right, that's the one in Russia. It would appear that these are very hot. Again, this is Florida. And look at the reflection on the water. This is not Photoshop. This is the actual thing. So what is it that we're witnessing? Is this part of Project Bluebeam? Is this something else? There's a closer picture of that. As you can see, look on the boat right there in the center. You can actually see the reflection coming off of the boat of whatever that is. And as you look at it closer, you can begin to see it's got lightning bolts all off of it. The ones over on the right, look at the lightning bolt is actually hitting, I think this is actually up in my neck of the woods. Then we've got the one in the middle center pane with that one is just again. And then the bottom right, again, another place. The ISS has captured what appears to be objects shooting beams down on the planet. Now, I put this together to suggest that, is this a program? Who's behind it? What is the point? We're getting stranger stuff showing out. Is this a sentient intelligence? Is this manufactured? Is this of human origin? Do we possess such knowledge, such technology? I find the one over on the right very curious because it has similarities to these beams. More people are catching something up in the clouds. One could say maybe the Raytheum, I don't know. Imagine if you're showing this over a particular region that has a heavy dominance of beliefs. Are the ghost cities we're seeing part of this? Think about it. Is this merely a hologram? Now, we're talking hundreds of miles across. Huge. But the globe, the Earth, does have a convex lens on it. You ever think about that? It does. Beams, light beings, angels, Pegasus, things that we can't quite put our mind to. What is it? Think about the disruption should a hologram appear in New York City, Dallas, Texas. And the thing that here I'm going to tell you why when you see this, because I do believe that they're going to use it, you can call bullshit on it. You can tell them that their head is up their ass. No Jesus ever existed, but he was no white dude. So you got the whole theme all wrong, but who cares, right? It's a miracle. The Savior has come. It's going to deliver us from all of this tribulation. This has shown up many places, particularly South America, Central America, where Catholicism reigns very high. But come on, folks. Who's putting this up there? I've shown you these. Simple light refractions? Is that what we're dealing with? In Norway, they show how this technology works. These are, I think they're well over 200-300 feet tall. They're actually power lines, which they're projecting behind. This is actually how you can actually create such things. So when you begin to look at it, what is it that we're seeing? You stare at this long enough and begin to see, do you start seeing as the defined lines suddenly begin? And if you kind of just move your eye from one side to the other, you can begin to see actual movement where there is none. But this up here will do it every time. Kind of interesting. I think it was in China. Moonlight Herbalist, good to see you. So what are we witnessing? There's more and more reports coming out of the TR-3Bs, the triangle ships. Are we getting ready to be told there is an alien invasion? People want disclosure so bad. Why not? But my concern is that with this technology that exists, and let's go over to so this guy brings out several things. Earthquakes. We're finding now earthquakes in places that we've never seen them before. You know, how many of you recall, which was a fulfillment, if you look at it a certain way, of Isaiah, of what happened in New York City and Washington, D.C.? That earthquake that hit Washington, D.C., and then the one in New York City that actually cracked all the way up to Wall Street. Were those foretellers? How many of you remember those? That was back in 2012. This is the one I thought was really interesting, religions. The Western group of nations collectively comprise far more political, military, and economic power than its nearest rival, the single nation of China. The power shift is changing. Christianity, including its numerous denominations, is easily the most influential Western religion. To change the religious power balance in the West would require the discrediting of major Christian icons such as the Old Testament, the New Testament, Jesus Christ, Virgin Mary, and the Christian prophets. See, this is the problem I see. You know, we could sit here amongst ourselves and realize that we see through these things. None of it matters. Number one, the Old Testament was never meant for the Western world. You could take that stance. The New Testament is nothing more than a book of serious mind coitus. Whether the dude existed or not, the rest of it becomes a pointless debate. But the relevance of the whole matter is that there are complete societal perceptions of reality built upon this construct. Now, we go on because it is a fact. I told you, you're going to see a lot of churches going broke, bankrupt. That's going to start a whole different thing. But it goes on to say, many scholars of the natural science openly portray science and religion as incompatible. This is not a universal opinion. For example, many academic chemists and physicists are openly Christian or members of other faiths. The main way that the mainstream fake news media discredits Judeo-Christian faiths may be selectively quoting objectable statistical data. Now, I'd have to take issue with the man because the fact is, it's not just the media. This is actually happening. Decline of religion in the West. There's more of what they call the nuns, the N-O-N-E-S. Barma Group, I think, I don't know who, whether it was Pew or Barma, but classified. And the nuns are the ones who have left Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all the religions. Just said, listen, I'm fed up with it. I'm one of those, just fed up with it. You know, as I've said before, if your God only solution is, and its highest intelligence, quotient or capacity, is that it must murder, kill that which it created, that's no God. But in some countries, they chop my head off for saying that. But in any case, organized religion losing its followers. Yeah. False flags. We have seen a number of so-called false flags. This goes all around the world. UFOs. It's the hottest shows on television. Ancient Aliens started out as just, you know, what they initially thought would be hopefully a hit. It's produced and generated a whole culture now. You know, their conventions, Alien Con and the rest of them. Well, there won't be any more, but it used to be where tens of thousands, I ain't thinking one of them had over 100,000 people coming in. Why? Well, in one way, you have to say that I guess deep down, humanity is looking for a savior, looking for something to save humanity. And what we have failed to realize after all of the tens of thousands of years of false gods, religions that come and go, it's us. But we seem to have the incapacity to hold that. And now the world's a mess. Do you know your average politician has an IQ less than probably about 110, 100? I've said that before, and you're seeing it. People are dying, and yet their mentality is gone down. Their solutions are idiotic. They make no sense. It's like they can't comprehend basic concepts. I challenge any congressman, woman, senator to come on this show and prove me wrong. No, because you have built and rely upon a system that is no longer able to function. What do we replace it with? I don't know. But here we go. I want to stop here. You're going to see coming out of Hollywood movies with dead actors. You're going to see many of them being resurrected because we can now got the technology that we can actually interact these characters with live human actors. They're working on James Dean, who knows, Marilyn Monroe. Why? Because this is what our culture now expects. They have created within us, their programming is, it's almost, I'm looking for the word. It's so thorough that it's really difficult to determine if it can be broken. Because our culture is littered with this. Everything is littered, tied to one another. Precept upon precept, concept upon concept. These TR3Bs are all over the skies now. Texas, New Mexico, California, Colorado. Why are we seeing these now? Why are they becoming more and more apparent? Is the Space Force truly about the defense of the planet? I wonder how quickly humanity would come together if it was to be known that the human race was being attacked by an alien species. I almost quoted word for word Ronald Reagan. Army developing synthetic telepathy. We're going to get into this even more, but folks, what is going on? The programming is really going to be interesting when people start hearing different languages and begin to realize that they cannot speak it, but they can think it. Wouldn't it be amazing if we actually had someone who was really forthright, an alien force already among us? The internet, is it just a communication or is it a medium? New Americans' microwave weapons, danger of first use. You know what they don't have in Russia? Homes don't have microwaves, ovens. They won't put them in. Odd, isn't it? I see my time is running out. This is a great document. I've covered many different aspects on this, but if you begin to see what's happening, even in the midst of this lockdown, this stay in place orders that we're seeing, you're seeing reactions of human beings that are, again, seem to be polarizing. And it's a very interesting effect. But when you start adding the optics to it, the acoustical, I did a program on the auditory hallucinations that are going around. People hearing voices, what they think is a voice, and they can't quite place it out. Well, Jay, yes, thank you. Very kind of you. It's here, folks. This is no longer pontification, speculation, given a hypothesis on a thesis of an idea. This is actually happening. It's here. Maybe they have to eliminate a certain part of the population to fully induce this. Maybe that's what this virus is about. It seems to be very selective on the type of people. Odd, isn't it? And then we can get into this whole thing, how there is a change taking place amongst Homo sapiens sapiens. There are those, I don't know what it is. There must be something. Well, Python, good to see you. I haven't seen you before. Welcome. Hey, Barry, Regina, good to see you. Cell Chaos, I love it. In fact, Cell, it's very interesting. Your handle is that, because as Trina and I have talked about, cellular memory. Within our cells, I think that this is where the connecting points come to. There is something that draws us together, and it seems to filter out others, and I like it that way. I get a lot of solicitations, it's like, hey, we want to partner with you and bring advertising and bring you more viewers. And I said to myself, I don't want that. I like this group. I like the size of what this group is. And I think bringing in new people sometimes can be very disruptive. And then again, I think, are we being selfish? I don't know. Daijan, how are you doing? You were abducted where you are? I'd like to hear about that. D3, your body is the vehicle. Thank you, True Helper. I'm telling you, Trina is very in tune to this. There is a frequency. I think that I'm going to do a show, and I'll just tell you, it's probably going to be Thursday, because we're bringing one of our group, Eyes to See, on Friday, and then I'm going to get Nina and some of the others, I think Robert V. But I want to do a whole hour. And if someone would like to come on and talk about this is fine. Let me know. So I was in meditation over the weekend and crossing over. And so let me just ask you really quickly, and we'll pick this up. And if you want to come on and discuss, I'd love to have you. I'd like to have a panel discussion on it. So what are you doing or planning for after your death? Can I ask you that? There's a number of you in the chat room. Lost in Space, thank you. James. So can I ask you, what are you specifically planning for after your death? Are you anticipating someone there to greet you? Are you anticipating being alone? Are you anticipating materializing in some domain? What are you planning for after your death? What do you believe or think is going to happen? And I'm being serious about this. I asked some people this question before, and I didn't get any answers. Most, if you're in a religious setting, well, you're pretty well said you're going to go one place or the other. Really? There are no assurances of that. Yeah, there's another question about this whole reincarnation thing. There's some disturbing evidence that I'm seeing that would contradict that completely. But anyway, but that is a question. I'd like to do a show on that and find out what people really, as you get older, you should have a will, as to what you're going to do, because baby, you ain't taking nothing with you except maybe the knowledge. And isn't it interesting? We're going to be getting into this, that a flatworm can actually learn to navigate through a maze. Now, if you were to chop that flatworm up and feed it to other flatworms, guess what happens? They know how to get through the maze. So here you have a species that, as each progressive generation literally can pass, they will consume that generation, because the knowledge, get this, the knowledge, folks, is in the cell. How is this the flatworm consuming another flatworm? Cellular memory. It's powerful. I think it holds the key that blocks our amnesia. Think about that. Imagine if we could break this curse, because that's what I'm convinced it is. Some people say, well, you signed a contract, whatever. But I still say I have the sovereign right to all of my memories. And if someone is holding back my memories, preventing me from, think about this, folks. If we had the ability to access our energy, which is supposed to be forever, right? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. First and second laws of thermodynamics. Then that tells me something isn't right. Recreation is a lie, because we're not learning anything. Why is it that something like a flatworm, and there's others in that animal kingdom, plants the same way, that literally pass on the knowledge? And if we are in fact energy beings, then within us has to be the key. Okay. There we go. I'll stop. Appreciate it. See y'all tomorrow with Miss Trina. Have yourself a great day. It's cold here, but I understand next week it's supposed to be like really hot. So there we go. Yeah, James, I think so. I think there is something within the DNA. I think we can actually think about it. It's what, and I know I'm going way over, but it's what has held us back as a species. A person lives for less than 100 years. They lose the knowledge that they have gained, and sometimes at great cost and pain, and no one knows it. Their kin, their bloodline doesn't even know it. All right. Big Al, be good, buddy. Thank you all for listening. I'll see y'all later. Be good to yourselves. All righty. Bye-bye.